NASA might look honest on the surface, but these leaked footage suggests otherwise. Unidentified flying objects. Secret alien bases.
We got somebody out the front window with a pair of binoculars.
And mysterious space sightings no one was supposed to see. This is the evidence they've been trying to hide.
So, are we looking at something huge orbiting the moon, like a fleet of UFOs or a cluster of asteroids?
This is Houston. Say again, Seven?
Back in 2011, when NASA was showing a live feed of the Space Shuttle, the stream showed something so strange that they cut it off from the public. The video revealed two mysterious objects near that flew towards the Space Shuttle. They looked circular, but from that angle, it was hard to tell if they were disks or spheres. They couldn't have been space rocks either, since both of these objects were the same size. They moved in perfect precision, almost like automated spacecraft that were there to observe the Space Shuttle itself. However, since the feed was cut off, we don't know what happened next. Secret transportation. A rider in Volgograd, Russia, took a wrong turn near a restricted military zone and discovered something no one was supposed to see. He heard a loud rumble above the buildings and saw two military helicopters flying over the buildings. They were transporting a disc-shaped object. It looked smooth and metallic, almost like a classic flying saucer. That's when he realized that the so-called military zone was really a secret operation site, a place where they could move something like this without anyone noticing. Area 51. Have you ever wondered what goes on inside Area 51? If yes, then you need to see this leaked footage from 1982. The old clip shows a classic flying saucer inside a classified room, and it looked like it was secured to the ceiling as if they were studying it or moving it somewhere. The craft was huge with several windows lined up along the sides, and only one man stood near it, like he was guarding it. The footage didn't reveal which archive it had been leaked from, but this look inside the secret facility is really mind-blowing. Crater mystery. In 2022, as the Lunar Reconnaissance Orbiter was recording a close-up shot of the moon, something appeared that no one was supposed to see. There was a mysterious crater on the moon, and a strange object slowly moved toward it. The object was made up of two disks stacked in a bizarre way, something that shouldn't have been possible according to physics. As it reached the crater, it went inside and vanished. Then, shockingly, the opening closed up completely too. It looked like the crater was a secret base hiding in plain sight, and the video captured its reality. Area 51 footage. What you're seeing here is what many people believe to be Area 51. A man managed to sneak his drone near the remote facility and shared the video anonymously to avoid any consequences. As the drone recorded the area, a massive spherical object came down from the sky and landed near the facility. It couldn't be a man-made craft because the aerodynamics we know today wouldn't allow something shaped like that to fly. After a moment, it shot straight up and vanished completely. This video might prove that Area 51 is not just for secret tests, but an actual alien base. Suspicious spacecraft. NASA has a lot of explaining to do, because this video is really suspicious. The strange footage was captured on the ISS live stream. That's when the satellite zoomed in on a really strange spacecraft. It was massive, with giant wings turned upward to stabilize it. The strangest part about it was that no man-made spacecraft or satellite is ever designed like that. Experts were really suspicious of this aircraft because of how close it was to the Earth's orbit, and it almost seemed like it was there to spy on our planet. But despite analyzing this footage, experts haven't revealed what it was. Lunar mystery. In May 2019, when a photographer was trying to capture the full moon over Moscow, his camera caught something truly shocking. Some mysterious black spheres appeared in front of the moon. Then, more of them appeared, flying in a loose formation. After he shared the footage online, astrophotographer Andrew McCarthy calculated that they had to be 2 to 3 miles wide.
If these objects were orbiting the moon, they would have to be 2 to 3 miles wide.
That was far bigger than the International Space Station. That's when the UFO theories came in. They studied the movement of the objects and wondered if they could be extraterrestrial spacecrafts orbiting the moon. However, NASA geologist Dr. Bob Anderson did say that it could be migrating birds in front of the camera lens, but others weren't convinced about that. Lunar alien.
I believe what I'm saying, and I cite the evidence that I know.
During an interview, astronaut Edgar Mitchell revealed something that shook the world. After returning from Apollo 14, he said that aliens were real and that the U.S. government had covered up sightings for years.
What you told us is real. There was alien visitation. And now that same person has subsequently denied.
His words didn't seem like bluff because of this video that surfaced a year later. It showed an astronaut driving the lunar rover, and far in the distance, there was a tall, gray figure. It did not look human and wasn't wearing a suit, which meant it could only be an alien. Experts immediately called it fake, but people thought they were just trying to hide the truth because it matched exactly what Mitchell had been saying.
They've been observing us and here for quite some time, and we see these craft all the time.
Alien base. This clip, recorded by the Lunar Reconnaissance Orbiter in March 2023, shows a close view of the surface. We can see an opening in the crater, and a small object comes out from it. It's elliptical and metallic, and the way light glints off of its surface makes it look like a spacecraft. Then, it darts away with precise and sudden speed. Moments later, a faint, reddish glow rises from one part of the moon, like there was something hidden under its surface. And even though NASA experts have stayed silent about it, the video speaks for itself that there could be an actual alien base in those craters. Strange moon objects. In January of this year, a man from Mexico was using his telescope to look closely at the moon when he saw something he couldn't explain. Some strange objects were hovering just above the moon's surface. One of them was much bigger, and a smaller one seemed to orbit around it. This went on for a few seconds until suddenly they flew away at an incredible speed. This sighting shocked him so much that he tried contacting the authorities to report what he saw, but they told him to stay quiet and not share it. UFO energy harvesting. This old footage from 1996 shows a strange scene over a power plant in Ukraine. A pilot had recorded it as an observation helicopter, and there were some really strange aircrafts flying near the cooling tower. Years later, when this footage was leaked in 2011, people started connecting it to strange theories. One of the wildest ones was that these were alien spaceships that were taking waste heat or energy from the plant, almost like it was refueling its system before flying away. Leaked footage. This leaked footage from the KGB archive will shock you because it shows a group of scientists studying something they were clearly trying to keep hidden. There were remains of a gray creature in front of them, and they were clearly trying to study its anatomy. According to sources that had leaked it, these remains belonged to an alien that they had retrieved from the Voronezh incident. It allegedly happened in 1989 when people reported a UFO crash. Officials had quickly covered it up as a simple meteor fall, but this leaked footage from the same archive proves something else. Only if we had access to the rest of the archive, we could have found out more about the study. UFO encounter.
It's actually there to track, drug traffickers and things like that. So when they call this thing in, this is about 2:30 in the afternoon. It's September 17th of last year. It's broad daylight. They got a good look at this thing, cylindrical, dark object that passes underneath their wings so close.
In September 2024, when a Homeland Security crew was flying at 20,000 feet, they suddenly saw a small, dark object fly towards their plane and slip right under their wing. Although this video shows a computer animation of the exact event, this real audio recording revealed the tense call with the air traffic controller.
It's not weird, but I just had something pass underneath my wing, maybe like a football-sized object right underneath our wing.
The plane's radar had tracked the object till about 16 miles away, but after that, it disappeared completely. The object wasn't a drone either, because its speed was really shocking. Later, the controller even reported the incident to the National UFO Reporting Center, but still, the object stayed a total mystery. Phobos monolith. Buzz Aldrin, the astronaut, made a really shocking revelation. He spoke about a strange monolith on the Mars moon, Phobos, during a 2009 interview. And if you don't believe it, then listen to what he says here.
We should go boldly where man has not gone before. Fly by the comets, visit asteroids, visit the moon of Mars. There's a monolith there, a very unusual structure on this little potato-shaped object that goes around Mars once in 7 hours.
He claimed there is a lone monolith sitting on that moon, a tall structure that should not be there at all. The idea that there's one standing on Phobos suggests that a civilization might exist outside our planet. According to him, the origin of that monolith was a mystery that needed to be solved. And for now, we only have images. But this mystery could lead us to something far beyond human. Secret lunar base. Now, this one is really interesting, and you are about to find out why. Someone had shared this as leaked footage from the Lunar Research Archives, and according to the source, the video was recorded by the Lunar Reconnaissance Orbiter satellite. It shows a strange light on the surface of the moon, and then an object slowly comes out of it, almost like a spacecraft lifting off the ground. It clearly looked like a UFO. Now, we don't know how credible the source truly is, but if that footage was real, it could mean extraterrestrial beings actually have hidden bases on the moon. Glowing UFO. The United States Air Force pilot was flying his plane almost 12,000 feet up for air combat patrol. That's when a strange aircraft came into view. It had a metallic surface that shone in the sunlight, and it was shaped perfectly like a UFO. He knew it wasn't a drone shaped like a flying saucer, because drones cannot fly as fast as fighter planes. So, the spacecraft made him very suspicious. But before he could intercept it, the aircraft shot straight up at incredible speed and vanished into the sky. UFO crash.
Now, a strange discovery in a recent NASA photo has some saying these visitors haven't just been observing Earth. Check out what we found on our next-door neighbor, Mars.
In 2021, NASA's Mars Reconnaissance Orbiter spotted something truly shocking on the red planet. There was a massive, mysterious mark that was 9,000 meters long and 1,500 meters wide. Unlike normal craters, this one wasn't circular at all. It looked like something huge had drifted across the surface. At the end, there even seemed to be a perfectly curved disc-like object. That's when they got the idea. What if a UFO had crashed there? That would explain the pattern which is seen only when a flying craft crashes. This illustration even shows how that can be possible, and the puzzle pieces fit perfectly. Even astrophotography expert Andrew McCarthy said that if it had been an impact by a meteor, then it would have looked something like this, which is why they are convinced this trail wasn't normal.
Take a look at the moon. On the surface of the moon, there's a crater called Messier A. And what that is a shallow meteor impact that came in at a very shallow angle and carved out elliptical shaped craters. This is how a normal asteroid crash would look if it comes in at a shallow angle.
Hitler's UFO mission. Back in the early 1940s, there were famous theories about secret German projects, and people wondered if they'd tried to build advanced anti-gravity aircraft. Well, now those old tales feel a little more real because of such leaked videos. The footage was very old and very blurry, but we can still see a military base with a massive saucer-shaped object. It looked just like a typical flying saucer that they were trying to transport. Although now no one knows where this military base could have been, this video raises a lot of questions about the kinds of experiments that had happened back then. Martian ruins. You need to hear about what archaeologists found on Mars in February 2014. The Curiosity rover that sends high-resolution photos from Mars suddenly revealed something shocking. They found an effigy that looked like a human statue. But that's not the only sighting. Nearby, there were images of a sarcophagus, a Buddha statue, and even a cross. Imaging expert Joe White enhanced the photos and said there seemed to be pieces of statues all across Mars.
The details I noticed first were particularly the eye and nose details on the front of the statue on the left here, with a quite clear mouth structure and what looks like an ear just here. And you have a long, narrow, elongated cone head shape to the statue.
All of these findings could be proof of an otherworldly civilization, and might just be finding out about it. Theorists also say these structures mirror some of the monuments on Earth, which means that the ones on our planet could have been made by otherworldly beings too. So, could these Martian objects be proof of extraterrestrial civilization?
There are a lot of different objects on Mars that people see or think they see in various rover images. And it's really hard to dismiss them because they do look exactly like sculptures that human beings make. And even after a massive cataclysm like what apparently took place on Mars, you're gonna find remnants from a lost civilization that's just leaving behind those last hints that we were here.
Shocking pilot encounter.
Now, I know what you've seen is what those Navy pilots saw in 2004, and there have been some 300 sightings since then. And I talked to those pilots, and they know they saw something, and their radars locked onto it. And then all of a sudden it was here on the surface, and then it's there. And they don't know what it is, and we don't know what it is.
You need to listen to what NASA's administrator, Bill Nelson, said in this video. He was openly admitting to the possibility that we are not alone in the galaxy. Here is the possible evidence of that. These clips were filmed in 2004 and 2015 by Navy pilots. They had spotted a round object hovering above the water 100 miles out in the Pacific Ocean. Even as they kept track of it, they couldn't make out what it really was. Even today, the object from both videos remain a complete mystery, which means they could very well be a UFO.
There's a whole fleet of them. Oh my gosh. They're all going against the wind. The wind's 120 knots from the west. Look at that thing, dude.
UFO fleet.
I read about this incident you had in 1951, and you said you saw literally hundreds of unidentifiable flying objects.
Yes, they were flying quite high. How high we couldn't tell because we couldn't get anywhere near their altitude. But they were either very large craft way up or smaller craft still well above what we could get to.
For a day and a half, all of this happened, but then no one wanted to talk about it.
Colonel Gordon Cooper, a former astronaut, talked about seeing UFOs many times in his life. His first sighting was in 1951, when he and other pilots saw a huge group of objects flying high in formation. The Air Force ignored it completely, but then a satellite recorded this. The video shows a fleet of objects flying in perfect formation in front of the moon, all the same size and shape. In a letter that he sent to the UN, Cooper said these vehicles were far more advanced than our technology. He asked the UN for a fair investigation because he thought the government was hiding what they knew about these objects.
Hey, Houston, we got somebody out the front window with a pair of binoculars and a zoom lens. We're trying to get a pretty good idea on this thing.
Fleet sighting. A stargazer who had just bought a high-end telescope was testing it out at the night sky and ended up recording something shocking. Right in front of the moon, a whole fleet of objects was flying. The exact details of them weren't very clear, but they definitely didn't look like space rocks that usually drift in random shapes and sizes. These ones were all the same size, and the truly shocking part was that they were moving at the same speed in a perfect formation. That kind of precision was only possible for spacecraft, which is why he believed he'd accidentally captured alien ships. Rocket encounter.
We're going to move on now to that mysterious close encounter. This object you see here was caught on camera flying past the SpaceX rocket just minutes after liftoff last week.
This next discovery shocked everyone who watched the launch. Just minutes after the SpaceX Crew Dragon lifted off, a strange object was caught on camera, flying extremely close to the rocket. The footage clearly showed something slipping right between the Falcon 9 booster and the capsule, and no one could tell what it was. Some experts quickly tried to explain it as possible ice breaking off from the rocket's oxygen tank.
It makes me think that that is just most likely a piece of ice. Is that it happened right at the time where they were inserted into orbit.
But not all analysts agreed with that conclusion. The movement looked far too controlled and far too perfectly timed. This unexpected event made scientists consider that it might have been something far more mysterious. Mysterious lunar fleet. In 2019, the Himawari satellite recorded something very strange. It was a fleet of mysterious objects passing in front of the moon. The objects twinkled slightly, almost like the lights we see on airplanes, which made it seem like they could be spacecraft. They moved in a way that looked like they were heading toward the moon's surface. Experts quickly said that no scientists had sent a spacecraft like this into space, which made the sighting even more mysterious. Normally, NASA tries to keep things like this quiet, but lucky for us, the live stream was public when it happened. Secret alien base?
NASA recently announced a major discovery. They found water on the sunlit side of the moon. But some people believe they made other major discoveries there decades ago. Discoveries they chose to keep secret.
The moon might not be what we think it is. Apollo astronauts had found strange shapes on the moon, but NASA had kept its images a secret. It was the former employee, Ken Johnston, who had revealed these images of dome-shaped bases in the craters of the moon.
In my opinion, that is not a natural structure. It's got to be some intelligent species that created it.
Ken Johnston also said he was ordered to get rid of the photos. Other photos even showed parallel tracks across the surface, like a vehicle had moved there. That's when they started wondering if these mysterious shapes could be signs of a secret alien base on our natural satellite. Mutated alien footage. Take a look at what a man found in a new home. Last year, he had moved to an old house in New York. There, he found this footage from the 1950s in a mysterious wooden chest. It was old and blurry, but it showed a dark, alien-like creature with strangely incomplete limbs, almost like it was mutated. The footage was labeled Monster on Plum Island Beach, but he couldn't figure out if it was an actual alien from a crashed UFO or part of some strange experiment. UFO or Nibiru?
Some people watching this video theorize that the object near the moon is the planet of Nibiru.
This strange video of the moon has been going viral recently. Someone recorded the moon because there was a smaller glowing shape near it. It was hard to tell what it was. Even though it looked small compared to the moon, it would still have to be huge. No one knows who recorded it or where it came from, but people have many theories about it. Many netizens say it was a UFO, while others believe it could be Nibiru, a mysterious planet that some say is part of a prophecy about the end of the world. Mysterious remains. A man who'd gone to Bondi Beach in Sydney found something terrifying on the sand. It looked like a tiny carcass with a blue-green body, and it seemed like it had already started to decay. One glance told him this was no ordinary creature. However, he couldn't tell if it was an alien that had dropped from the skies or something terrifying that had washed up from the deep sea. The sight creeped him out so much that after recording it, he left the strange remains right where he found them. Fallen alien. Nothing will prepare you for this shocking sighting. Late at night, people in Miami noticed an unidentified glowing object falling down from the sky. They thought it was just a meteor. But the reality was something else, because the next day, people found a mysterious creature on Miami Beach. It seemed like it had fallen from the sky, with its long limbs and ashy skin. It seemed like an alien. An investigation team arrived at the spot. However, they took the creature away and didn't share what they would be doing with it. Unidentified space object. What this camera captured has shocked everyone. A triangular object was seen moving right beside the International Space Station, matching its speed of nearly 14,000 miles per hour. For over 20 minutes, the strange craft kept moving at a constant altitude. Then it suddenly changed its direction and moved slowly upward before fading from sight. After seeing it, even NASA couldn't identify what it really was. Flight encounter. You'll be shocked to see this unbelievable sight from a pilot's window. A private test pilot flying his plane noticed something zooming toward his plane. He thought it might be another aircraft, or even a bird, so he stayed cautious to avoid flying into it. But soon, he realized it was a saucer-shaped object. He thought he'd mistaken its shape, until it appeared again hovering right beside him. That's when it became clear that it really did look like a UFO. What do you think? Do you believe this encounter is real? UFO landing. In 1996, people in Mexico caught a terrifying moment on camera. A glowing aircraft was flying in the distance at incredible speed. The way it was flying made it seem like it was losing control. A second later, it dropped down fast. That year, many locals talked about this crash that had also created a huge crater in that area. But soon after, the authorities denied the incident and removed any evidence of the incident. Leaked alien footage. What you're seeing in this video is allegedly leaked from the MJ-12 archive, which is believed to have documents of secret extraterrestrial operations. It shows an alien specimen that looks exactly like a gray alien with huge black eyes and gray body. The scientists around it seem to be analyzing it, and what's even more shocking is that the being appears alive. That's rare, because most leaked clips show recovered bodies, not living aliens. It was reportedly taken after the famous 1994 Ruwa UFO sighting in Zimbabwe, where witnesses claimed a craft had landed. This is all the info we have for now, but before you dismiss it, you need to hear what the whistleblower, former intelligence officer David Grush said.
If you believe we have crashed craft, stated earlier, do we have the bodies of the pilots who piloted this craft?
As I've stated publicly already in my News Nation interview, biologics came with some of these recoveries, yeah.
Were they, I guess, human or non-human biologics?
Non-human, and that was the assessment of people with direct knowledge on the program I talked to that are currently still on the program.
So, could this footage reveal one of those alien recoveries? Moon caves.
Millions of years ago, human life on Earth began in caves. Who knows, maybe years down the line, we could say the same about humans on the moon. Because for the first time ever, scientists have discovered a cave on the moon, an underground cave. It lies about 150 meters beneath the surface, and its area is equivalent to 14 tennis courts.
What if there's a hidden civilization living on the moon? Well, as absurd as it might sound, scientists have found a huge cave beneath the lunar surface, about 150 meters deep. Experts say the shape and patterns inside make it look like it might not be completely natural, which is why they were so mysterious. They even wonder if the cave system was a sign of interterrestrial beings living on the moon secretly.
Researchers believe they've discovered a location for a possible future base on the moon. Analysis of NASA data has found a cave believed to be about 80 metres long and 45 metres wide. That's a cool cave. Scientists say it's probably an empty lava tube.
Unidentified space object. As an astronaut was repairing the robotic arm of the International Space Station, a strange object showed up in the distance. Near the horizon of Earth, a small, unknown object appeared out of nowhere. The crew became really suspicious of it because when they checked their logs, they found no record of any satellite that should have been there at those coordinates. That's why it made them think that something truly mysterious had come really close to Earth's horizon. Lunar civilization. What if the moon is hiding its own secrets? Scientists have seen so many strange things on the moon that make them ask such questions. Just like the time when Buzz Aldrin talked about seeing strange lights near a crater.
We were smart enough to not say, Houston, there's a light out there that's following us.
Now, the old NASA photos that show strange objects on the moon have started to make more sense. Scientists now study them and say that those structures seem too artificial to ignore. All these connections point to one terrifying theory, that there is indeed another civilization out there on our moon. Martian mystery. On August 30, NASA's Perseverance rover captured an eerie sight on Mars. A massive shape appeared in the distance. From the rover's view, it looked totally odd, like some strange illuminated entity had appeared on the planet. However, when scientists studied the image carefully and came up with different possibilities of what it was, it turned out to be a dust devil. It was a whirlwind about 200 feet wide and over a mile tall. Still, for a moment, it had really looked like a mysterious visitor. Mars Pyramid. The Curiosity rover was exploring Gale Crater on Mars when it captured a strange sight on March 16, 2023. The rover pointed its camera toward huge structures that looked like massive pyramids. The pyramids rose nearly 5,000 meters. The structures were made of clear, precise layers of rock that went all the way up. After seeing them, scientists couldn't decide if they were natural formations or a sign of extraterrestrial presence on Mars. Now it's time for the most shocking UFO sighting of today.
This is facing aft. You can see the rear portion of the back of the space station, the Russian segment.
This video shows a view of Earth's orbit from the observation module of the International Space Station. Expedition Commander Scott Kelly was recording the scene during his long mission in late 2010. That's when he recorded these strange spacecraft moving in space. It wasn't just one, but an entire fleet. The large one in the center was flanked by two smaller ones, moving in perfect formation at unbelievable speed. Due to his experience as an astronaut, Kelly instantly knew these were not man-made spacecraft or satellites either. That moment completely changed what he thought they knew about space. If that really was a UFO fleet, then scientists would have to investigate further through better end missions to see if they could spot these mysterious crafts again.
Front of the cupola, the Japanese experimentation module, as well as the, you can see part of the robot arm in that window.